Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another weekly update on news and information about DCS World, brought to you by me, your host, Prick the Hedgehog, and of course via our favorite combat flight simulator developer, Eagle Dynamics. And it's been a busy week for me, unfortunately. Not a lot of flying time, work commitments and home life commitments, and life has just meant I did not really get a whole lot of flying time in. I did dabble a little bit with a independent game from the flying, and that was Blackbird Interactive's Shipbreaker, which was a really cool game. But we won't be talking about that. We will be focusing on DCS news. That's a whole different category. News really has been focused on World War II radars this week, and of course the bug squashing that DCS is doing right now. So let's talk about the bug squashing. Not a lot of changes. As I said, there was last week we talked about the fact that Eagle Dynamics is not going to be releasing a lot of new stuff over the coming weeks, and that due to feedback from the community, they are going to be focusing on making sure that the two versions of the game that we have remain stable. And right now, thanks to feedback from viewers and people like yourselves who are actively involved in the game, whether that's open beta or whether that's in the main game, they are squashing bugs, tracking actively apparently about 2,500 bugs. Last week they squashed close to 283 bugs, and I wonder why they say close to 283, because does that mean it was 280, or does it mean there was 282 and a half? Why not just say close, approximately 280 bugs? Anyway, whatever. Sort of a weird, I don't know, misuse of language. I don't know what you would call that, but it's sort of a non sequitur, if you like, because it's either 283 bugs or it's not. I'm sorry, that's just me being pedantic. Anyway, good news. They are squashing bugs. They are going to continue at that pace, they hope, for the next couple of weeks. As I mentioned last week, the next update is not due to occur until mid-July. So we've got a few weeks of this where we're not going to be getting any major new stuff. Nevertheless, there is a sale going on right now that will finish shortly. And there is also a sale starting today on the Steam version of the client. And if you are a Steam owner, good news for you, that sale will continue through until July, the 9th of July in fact, and it will stop at 1000 Pacific Standard Time. They have here also the L39 Albatross, 50% discount and download of the Albatross right now for $30. It's not a bad module actually. Nice little aircraft to fly, just something different, and it is a sort of trainer aircraft. It gives you the full jet experience without necessarily all of the sophistication of some of the modules, say for example the A10C, but nevertheless a very useful and helpful aircraft to fly. I've spent a little bit of time in it, not a whole lot, and I really should go back to it and play around with it. What I have been delving into a little bit this week, of course, was the Viggen, which I have in my stable, and I feel terrible that I have neglected it. One of the things I really like about the Viggen, and I don't have any footage right now unfortunately, is the really cool dials, which sort of look like a Swiss watch. They're backgrounded by this little blue light, and I think that's really, really cool. The attention to detail from heat blur, of course, is second to none. So again, both aircraft, they're well worth looking into if you're interested. What they have, of course, been working on are radars, World War II radars, the Freya and Würzburg Riese radars series, and these were an early warning system developed by the Germans and technically more advanced than the British chain home system, but it was less efficient because of its smaller size, and it was, of course, semi-mobile. They only made about 1,000 units. It's low bandwidth, 53 centimeter wavelength. Würzburg radar was the primary ground-based radar for the Wehrmacht's Luftwaffe during the war. The Freya and Würzburg pair made for excellent spot and track systems capable of determining enemy aircraft range and altitude. The Würzburg Riese, known as the Giant of Würzburg, presuming I'm pronouncing this correctly, forgive me for my German, which is not posh or particularly polished, It was developed based on the same circuitry and featured a much larger 7.4 meter antenna and was more powerful transmitter, able to provide up to 70 kilometers of range. The first Bergreisa was used to direct pilots towards incoming aircraft. Over 50,000 bombers were traced and shot down with the help of these radars. So, okay, not as efficient perhaps as the British system, but certainly effective. They are significant cornerstones and mark the beginning of electronic warfare. Yeah, no surprise there. Actually, the German units were very, very sophisticated from my memory here, and certainly paved the way for systems that we would recognize today. Even when you look at the pictures here, certainly not something that you would be unfamiliar with. Whereas the British system, the very large pylons, I think, looks more like a giant radio station rather than a more modern radar system that we would recognize. So kind of an interesting period of our history here. Yeah, so they're excited to share their progress with us and look forward to your battle reenactments using these models and the countermeasure tactics needed to cope with German radar coverage. That's going to add a little bit more realism to the World War II Warbirds theatre of combat for those players that are interested in that. That really covers everything in terms of updates this week. Like I said, not a lot going on in terms of new developments. Really, it is polishing and fixing, as mentioned, the existing game that we have to squash those bugs, which I think is a good thing. So apologies, there's nothing whiz-bang out there. Nevertheless, these developments are important, and if you haven't logged into the game recently, there was a little bit of a patch this week, actually a fairly large patch, and I didn't see a change log here, and what that was referring to, we are talking here, like I said, I think it was several hundred megabytes worth of data for that change and a little update there. So just bug squashing primarily, and it'd be nice to see the end of that so we can get back into some of the other cool stuff that we're also looking forward to, which is the development of our existing aircraft. Primarily for Eagle Dynamics, it's the F-18, which is hopefully getting closer to completion, and of course the F-16, which is still a wee ways away from completion, unfortunately. Nevertheless, a great addition to the game. So, let me know what you're flying. Like I said, I didn't get a lot of time to fly this week. If you checked out the F-14 this week, or if you checked out the Viggen, let me know your thoughts on those aircraft. And if you have picked up something and as a result of the sale, let me know what your thoughts are on the aircraft you purchased, and whether it was a buyer's regret or if it was a buyer's thumbs up. I'm very curious about that, and give me some feedback. I want to know what you're flying right now and why, and if you enjoyed it. I did a little bit of flying in the Viggen last night, and I really like the dials on that Viggen. Like I said, it's a cool little aircraft. Alright, that'll do for this week. A shorter video, and once again, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you around. Stay safe out there, everybody. Make good decisions, and carry on flying. This is Prickly Hedgehog out.